Everybody ready? Yep. Here we go. Let's go play the melody line.
You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings. And with every step you take, bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is found in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams, and you will do amazing things. Just enjoy what this day brings. You will do amazing things. You will do amazing things. So sorry, I feel like I'm letting y'all down here.
No, you are
Thank you.
not.
I feel like I'm letting y'all.
You are not. You're amazing.
Anyway, so sorry.
Will the prayer chaplain bring forward the prayer box, please?
We as individuals place prayers in the prayer box to be prayed over. The time that they're in the prayer box sitting back here, there, we need to think about them ourselves and remind ourselves that we have prayers that we are holding for a little while and once a month sending them to Silent Unity to be prayed for. Well, let's just take a moment. We can add our own prayers to these prayers and be reminded that wholeness is our thought there, Suzanne.
Birthright.
Birthright. It is who we are. We are
It's
wholeness.
our name.
Amen.
Thank you for that. And at this time, let me share with you that those of us that are wearing prayer shawls are prayer chaplains, and for any of you that would like one-on-one personal prayer, would be most happy to pray with you. All right. And now Cliff will read the daily word.
I am one with the loving guidance of divine mind. Spirit expresses through all creation as loving guidance, maintaining perfect order in all things. Today I focus and take time to gain direction in all that I do. Since my essence is a spirit, I am one with the divine mind always. And I remember that truth whenever I feel confused, conflicted, or uncertain of what my next step should be. My mortal mind is limited, relying on yesterday's fears to make today's decisions. I choose to move beyond any perceived limitations to the loving guidance available through the presence of divine mind within. This day unfolds before me, filled with satisfaction and joy as I feel that loving guidance with every step I take, every choice I make. I am one with the loving guidance of divine mind. From the Psalms 119, verse 105. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path.
Thank you, Cliff. Let us still our minds and prepare ourselves to say together our sacred Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Let us move deeper into that place of awareness, place of connection. It is as simple as breathing. Breathing in awareness, releasing in this moment all that does not serve us. Follow your breath. As we follow our breath, paying attention, we are here in this now moment. We remind ourselves now, this now moment, this now instant is all there ever is. And in this now instant, we are aware and connected to the divine reality that is our oneness. Allow yourself within your mind, I am one. I am one. I am. I am. And as you feel yourself gently into that center space, feel your body relaxing and being filled with the energy of that divine creative power. My body is whole and complete. My life in this moment is whole and complete. And in this completeness, I move into the silence and my relationship, my awareness, my experience of oneness in the silence. Gently bring yourself to the edge, just to the edge. And open your heart to whatever concerns you have at this time. Personal concerns of what wants to be happening in your life. Concerns for those that you love. Just allowing that divine mind and that divine presence to accept and allow His power to flow through each situation. In the moment I let go of figuring it out for myself. Spirit, you are that wisdom and love operating through me, as me in this world. And I reach out that awareness that Spirit works through so many people in and around the world, and holding all of those that are in distress, whether it's from natural calamities, whether it's from war, whatever that process is, in this moment, we join together with all of those from whatever faith or awareness that are holding love and safety, love and peace, love and this amazing creative energy. we see the world, this globe, surrounded by light. And we see this light radiating out into the universe, beyond our ability to imagine. Take some more breaths. Yes, I breathe in my awareness. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Yes, yes. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm back to classes on, classes off, because somehow in my house I can't find my prescription lenses, and I can't imagine why. Y'all could see what is going on that needs to be totally done by Friday. So there is never a perfect time. Do you think there's a reason why I maybe chose this title? There is never a perfect time. And as I was, looking around and thinking about this, to kind of look back to the very, very beginning, because I came across this word. It's been several years ago now. K-order. Have you ever heard that word, K-order? And what it means is chaos into order. So K from chaos, order, K-order. And it's a process where everything begins to break down and to be able to rebuild it back into a new configuration. And so going way back to the creation, think about these words. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and it was void. And the darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved on the face of the water. So we could paraphrase this and say, in the beginning, God created out of chaos. Out of chaos. So do you ever look up, on Facebook, other places, they have these gorgeous pictures of the cosmos out there, that the astronomers are putting out there, and you just go, and some of it looks so chaotic, and yet the forms that it creates in that chaos. And it only looks chaotic to us because the astronomers can look at that and they know exactly what they're looking at, and they can see the order that is within all of that. So how does that work in our own lives? Does your life, like mine, seem to be in chaos? So you all have been listening. You're probably tired of listening to me talk about the chaos that my life is in, but the chaos should be done by Friday. The chaos. So I do have a time limit on my chaos process. But it is exactly like that creative process. It is the chaos that is coming about because there's a whole new process of creation that's going on in my life. So how about when we look out there and look at chaos that's going on and say, what's new wanting to happen? What's new going to be born out of this chaos, whether it's personal chaos, whether it's looking out into, around the world to say things are wanting to be born. And there's a process of things beginning easily and they get more intense as time goes on. So mine began very easily, okay, I'm going to put my house up for sale and, it will be sold at some point in time. What are the things I can do? And I said, okay, I want my house to be sold, so there are things to do. And I think it began easily and gently, a little too easily and gently. I moved forward and the house sold pretty quickly in this process. And we also, we think about, as I'm doing this, there's a time. So there's a perfect time, or there's my time frame. Do you ever think about, here's my time frame, and I'm having to reel myself back in again because what is Carol's time and what is the divine time? The divine picture that can be seen all around, but I can't see it. And to be able to relax and step back from that process. And how many of us do that? Oh, this is going to happen here. This is going to, we have it all lined out, and guess what? Then when it doesn't happen that way, we go, oh, this stuff doesn't work. Oh, I prayed about this, nothing's happening. And, but we move on, and we can look back and we go, oh. Yes, I could not see it in that way. So there's, y'all familiar with the wave theory, wave like water coming in and out? And you know, yeah. So the wave theory says, you know, the water comes in, and you know, if you go down to the Gulf, it's easier to see in the Gulf sometimes. The Atlantic and the Pacific, they got big waves coming in all the time. But in the Gulf, there's these little bitty waves, little gentle waves, and they come in, and they're not making much disturbance. They, you know, maybe come over the sand and maybe a little bit shifts and it goes back out again. But then as you watch, and the waves get bigger and bigger and bigger, and thank God we haven't had any on our shore like just happened recently. So the huge wave that comes in, well, we did actually, we did down Mexico Beach. You know, the waves that come in, and now the wave itself is doing damage, and when it pulls out, it's doing damage. But you know, we're only seeing a fraction of what's going on because where the new and the old that meet together, it is so chaotic in that process. And when we begin to be aware of that and say, you know, that's kind of how the universe works. That's kind of how life works. We have the new wave coming in, and we have the old wave going out, and sometimes they're really gentle, and other times they just seem totally, amazingly destructive. And yet, think about the creative process. Why is so much damage being done on our coastlines? You know, yes, we've got some pretty bad storms that are going on, but bad storms have gone on, but there are people in the way now. There weren't people in the way. There's nobody in the way. How many tornadoes do we not ever hear of because they're out, you know, in big open spaces and nobody even saw them, much less had anything happen. But, you know, as human beings, we tend to move into, oh, you know, don't build on the coast. Those sand dunes, those islands, they're there for a reason. They're there to protect us. No, let me put my house out there. Okay. So and you know, sometimes why is we're always putting off moving forward, and there's probably a subconscious process within ourselves that's totally aware of this. You know, we don't normally think about that a lot. Oh, you know, this is the wave process going on. But there's a part of us knows when we make change, there's going to be chaos. You know, and so it's not, we're not conscious of it, but we move forward. So think about what are some of your reasons for avoiding change. So I'm going to read some, and some of them you go, oh yeah, and there may be some others you go, oh, she did say that one, you know, this is mine. So one of the reasons, some of the reasons for not moving forward in the direction of our dreams. You know, you think about when you want to move forward, you're moving forward into something that's positive. That's what's the impetus. But you say, well, when I have enough money. You know, I don't have enough money right now. When the kids are grown, we'll do this. When I retire. How many people have waited till they retire to do things, you know? When I have the perfect partner. And it doesn't mean, you know, I've got to be married, but the person who will be the right person to come along with me on this journey. Oh, it's too late in the day. Oh, it's too late in the week. I'll do it later. I can't do it now. I have something else to do this afternoon. And I know there's one other person besides me in this room who operates that way. And it's, I hadn't even put it into words till she did at one point in time. Okay, I have an appointment at 1 o'clock. You know, it's now 8 o'clock in the morning, but I'm not going to get started and involved in something because you know what, 5 hours later I got something else to do. Now, what I could be doing is going to take an hour or 20 minutes. No, you know. Think about how our mind works. I'm too old, or at the other end, you know, people say, oh, you can't do that, you're too young, and you believe it. You believe it. I'm too young. Do you know how old I'll be when I learn how to play the piano? When I go back to school and get that degree? And yeah, the same age you'll be if you don't. You know, do you think about that? You know how old? Same age. Nothing will change. And here's one that somebody shared with me the other day. I did have to say, this part of it, I had a lot of help. I was really feeling stuck. And so on Friday, a lot of people there, again, in this room were there at the beginning of my estate sale. And it was slow. And I said, okay, look, I need some help here. I need some ideas. So one person said, you know, I have to get all my ducks in a row. And, she used this phrase to her friends, and then one day, she really had this realization, and they're not even all my ducks. How many of us do that? Oh, my ducks. And, we're taking on other people's responsibilities. It's my kids. Oh, it's my best friend. Oh, it's my, co-workers. Oh, they're not my ducks. If I'm trying to get them all in a row, I'm never going to do anything. And then, here's again something that I was going through and didn't stay stuck there, thank goodness. I can't do this by myself. Well, how many of us, and again, I know there are people in this room, no, you couldn't do that by yourself. I couldn't do what I've been doing this weekend by myself and other things I've done. But you know what? I had to ask. I had to let people know that I needed help. How many of you, we don't ask for help, you do it yourself. If you can't do it yourself, well, ask for help. And how many of us are really wanting and totally willing to help somebody, but we don't know how to do it because they haven't told us. Asking for help to begin to move forward. And in fact, in Sunday school this morning, just in that discussion, and somebody was sharing something that was difficult, and other people were responding to that, and it was like, oh, okay, the kind of help, just having somebody else point something out to us, that is help, and that's the power of us all coming together in this. But there comes a time when it's too uncomfortable not to move forward. And here's a quote that I've used it before. You probably have heard it a lot, but it's like a butterfly. It's so perfect. You got to use it. So, Anna Eastman, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Now think about that. You think about how a flower, I don't know what that feeling is, but you look at a bud, and in the springtime, isn't it? You look at it, and here's this little green thing here, and it begins to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden, you look out there, and it begins to open. And think about our own selves. We're in that process, and to know that it is a process. To say, yes, here is. Well, again, I'll just use, here's my new adventure. I'm going to be moving into an RV. Did I decide 6 months ago I was going to do this? No, I decided several years ago. My kids put a 5-year plan in place to bring that about. I've been operating maybe on about a 3-year plan, and watching this happen, and one of the things that I'm wanting to be able to remember, because it's very important, we think when we make a decision that it's going to happen quickly. So one of the decisions I've had to make is, how do I let go of all of my stuff? And, at first it was my stuff, oh no. And then it became, oh yeah, I'm really ready, but I'm going to keep this, I'm going to keep that. As recently as the last weekend when I had the open house, there were things that went, oh, I'm ready to let this go. I'm ready to let this go. And after 2 days, there are other things I'm totally ready to let go. But it was a process. And I think sometimes when we decide we're going to do something, because, it's a time frame, that we think, okay, I've made the decision and it's time to do this, and it doesn't happen, and we get dejected, and it's a process. And you begin to observe yourself, and you begin to be gentle with yourself. So have you ever really sat down to contemplate what your dream is? How about your easy dream? What is your everyday dream? What is your dream of what you would like your day to look like? You really just sat down and thought about what that would look like? And maybe at one time it looked like mine did when I had to be at work at 7:30 or 8 o'clock every morning, and I really like to sleep. So my ideal morning work thing was, I would have everything set up the night before, I would sleep to the very last minute, I could get up, have my shower, do a stretching exercise, get my clothes on, and be out the door in 30 minutes. That was my perfect morning. Because where I was going to work, I could get coffee there. So I didn't have to worry about it. Oh, now I'm here and I can have my cup of coffee. Well, now my perfect morning is to be, I still like to get up pretty early. But I want to be able to go and sit down and have my cup of coffee. And if it's nice weather, I want to go out and sit on the deck. And I do want those couple of hours before my day begins. You know, have you thought that out? What does yours look like? And what kind of changes might you need to make? You know, and I'm just using that as an example. There's other things you might want. So if you really would like that idea of getting up early, maybe, okay, what do I stay up late doing? You know, what do I stay up late doing? Can I change that? 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. And how many, well, I gotta watch that late night news before I go to bed. And then you wonder why you can't sleep very well, why you have oh, maybe I could get my news, you know, 5 o'clock and it's done, you know, and let go of that. Maybe it's taking a short walk, you know, to create better health. So Ramona, that was here, my friend that comes up here, she started, it's been a few months ago now, taking a 10-minute walk right after dinner. She said immediately she could tell she's kind of pre-diabetic, and so she keeps up with stuff like that. She takes her blood sugar every morning. She's not diabetic, but she takes her blood sugar every morning, you know, all of that. The very next morning after she started that, she could tell a difference in what her blood sugar levels were. You know, 10 minutes in that process. You know, so releasing the news, how much time do you spend on your phone? Or, you know, mine's a dumb phone, so I spend sitting in front of the computer, you know. And, you know, things like that. Are there little things we can begin to do that move us into the direction of what we want to be doing? So my friend that I've talked about over the years that got me into Unity, so early on, 79, 80, maybe, it was probably before 81, we're out walking one day and we're talking about our dream, and you know, I want to go to Europe, I want to be able to do that. And neither one of us had the kind of jobs or money or whatever that would bring that about, but she always reminds me that as we were walking along, and I think we had just walked past the post office is what sparked it, and I said, you know what, if I'm really serious about wanting to go to Europe, I'm going to get my passport. I'm going to get my passport, and I did, whatever, you know, 2 or 3 months in getting it. Now, it was a couple of years before I actually began that European journey, but I stepped forward in that direction. So what kinds of things can you do to step forward into the energy of the universe? Do we really believe, do we really keep it in our minds? We are the power of the divine. We are that power. But we have to use this up here. We can't go, oh yes, it's God in me, and here's the opportunity. You know, I'll just stand here with my arms open, and it'll come flying. And I do know friends that began in Unity with me that was the kind of thing, the right and perfect job, and I don't have to read the newspaper, and I don't have to go out there. I can sit here, and trust me, we worked a lot together, and I saw people do that. No, we have to move forward. We have to do and ask. And for me, I say, okay, God, we want it easy, we want it gentle. Handwriting on the wall works really well with me. And, you know, I don't just whisper gently in my ear. I'm probably not going to pay attention. You know, I'm a visual person. Kind of thing. And, you know, that's what happens. That's what happens. That each one of you have the responsibility of figuring out that process for yourself. You know, I can say, you know, well, here's what I do, and I just told you that, and that might not be your process. That might not be. I've had people say, they literally hear the words. They hear a voice explaining and telling or things like that. You know, you may have other ways of doing those kinds of things, but think about that process. And here's this wonderful quote from Thoreau, and it's only probably been about 3 weeks since I used it the last time, but it's so Unity. It is so perfect. I learned this. at least by my experiment, so he said his own experience, that if one advances confidently in the direction of their dreams and endeavors to live the life which they have imagined, they will meet with success unexpected in common hours. Now, there's not one word of religion or spirituality in there. This is a truth of the universe. You know, that's what we are endeavoring to learn and make use of. That the universe is on our side, but we have to take those steps. We have to move forward in that process. But now here's the opposite side. This is from Eckhart Tolle. It is not uncommon for people to spend their whole life waiting to start living. Realize deeply that the present moment is all you have. Make now the primary focus of your life. So you can either step forward or you can sit down and just wait. And guess which one is going to bring you your dreams? And Franklin Roosevelt, FDR, said this: the only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. What are our doubts? What's keeping us from moving forward? Let us move forward with strong and active faith. You know, strong and active faith. What is my faith? You have to ask yourself. James Philip Freeman, I took a prosperity class from him way back when, and he said, you know what? We really don't know what we truly believe until something comes up to bring it up. So we have to move forward, and then when something jumps up, don't go, I'm so scared. We go, well, thank you for letting me know. That was the barrier. Thank you. Now I know how to begin to work on that process. So y'all have the 5 basic tenets of unity in your bulletin, and I'm going to share the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And the 3rd one, so here's all we've been talking about. Thoughts create experience. Everything in the manifest realm, that is, now I've added some words in here, in our personal life experience is beginning with our thoughts. So what are my barriers? May my barriers be the thoughts that I have, the doubt that I have, the fact, I can't do that, I don't know how to do that, I'm too old. All of those excuses begins with our thoughts. And can I begin gently and easily catching myself when I have a thought that doesn't work well, that is not helping me move forward. The 4th one says, our connection to spirit, to divine mind, is through prayer, through talking and listening to spirit. In other words, having a conversation. And I do have to tell you, it's a good thing God isn't a being sitting up there on a chair, because he wouldn't have an ear left. I chatter away to God all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and it's pretty easy because I chatter away to ego Carol, so I just chatter away to God Carol also. You know, having that conversation, but chattering away means there's a point, I gotta stop, I gotta listen. But having that ongoing conversation, the give and take. Last one says, take action. Plan your perfect day. Get your passport. Apply for the job. Take the vacation. Start your opportunity fund if you've only got $5. Or when I was a kid, you know, if I only had a dime. It's amazing the kind of things that I did when I was a kid. Because I could squeeze a nickel till the buffalo hollered. You know? But start it. Start it. You'll just be amazed. And the real thing, when I moved back to Florida, so I'm a young parent with 2 little kids, and I got a job working for the city of Fort Walton Beach, and they had a credit union. And my boss convinced me, so we got paid every 2 weeks. We got paid $55 a week, so $110 every 2 weeks, working 5.5 days. She said, open a credit union account. Well, how can I do that? You know, $55 a week, and that's before taxes, you know? You can open an account with $2.50. This was in 1966.
And get a toaster.
And get a toaster.
Yeah. Well, this this was just a little bitty city one, $2.50. So I did, which it came to $5 every 2 weeks. Well, fast forward a few months, and we got a raise. It came in and said, you know, you can't pay your people like this. You gotta pay them some more. So we got a raise. And mine was, I was making $75 a week, and I was able to buy a house. They were having a big, it was a downturn in the housing economy, but it worked for me. And guess what? I needed a refrigerator. So husband of one of my coworkers worked at Sears, and so I went over to talk to him, and here's my refrigerator. And yes, you can charge it, and it will be 18%. So I'm back at work, and I'm talking to my boss, and she said, you have a credit union account. You can borrow the money from the credit union, and I don't know what it was, 3% or something like that. You know, you begin small. You begin really small, and you begin to see how your life moves forward. So there's rarely a perfect time, but there's frequently an acceptable time. And so here is Paul talking to the Corinthians. Behold, now is the acceptable time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. So the question is, what do you want being saved from? What is it? What is it that you need to be saved that allows you to move forward and have a different life? So you need to know you have that divine power within you. You need to know, not just believe it, you need to know it. And you know it by taking action. You need to know you have that wisdom within you. You need to know you are made in the image and likeness of God. And use it. Now is the acceptable time, whether it's perfect or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol, as always. We're going to sing our next song. It's actually in the Red Book. You'll recognize the tune. It's 296. 296, so let's stand up and we'll sing Eternal Life is Here. Okay. Oh, is the piano turned all the way down? Is the piano volume down? No, you didn't touch it? You might have to turn it off. So, but 296 is the song number.
So I sent all my talk titles out to Barry, and he told me this morning, you know, there's not always songs that really fit with your talk title, so I picked some of your favorite songs. So this is one of my favorites.
Oh, nice.
And it always seems to work. Oh. Well, this is, sorry about this. It's just been an interesting morning as well. I don't know, it was working fine earlier. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yay.
Because I turned the volume down.
I can turn the volume down. Okay, now we know the culprit.
When we take responsibility, all kinds of magic happens.
Ah, there you go. There's some music. All right. 296. Here we go.
Eternal life is here, sustaining power, a radiant light to me through every hour. Eternal life is here, oh what a wondrous thought, almighty truth to be. These words have taught.
Verse 2.
Eternal life is here, that light